I went to a weigh station, rather, right? And it was like before a holiday or something like that. It was like I figured that this was back in my days when I was working 6 days a week. So I said, you know what, man? If I work this day, a lot of people ain't gonna be out here working, you know, because they trying to gear up for the holidays or whatever, right? Man, I get out there. It wasn't a lot of people out there working, man. But one time, I figured I'd be able to just fly up on the radar, get up on there, make all the monies for the day, all the monies. And I was wrong, man. I was so wrong. The moves I had for that day didn't turn out right. And the one move I did, it almost cost me, man. Cause I went to a weigh station, right? Now, I figured they'd be closed. I'm just being honest. So, you know, the day before, everybody trying to gear up for the holidays. What you doing open, man? So anyway, I pull up to it. It's open. I said, dang. I said, well, you know, I ain't that heavy. You know what I'm saying? I'm only about a good 20-some thousand pounds. At that time, I had like a light load or something. And cause I picked it up from the custom, and I was headed, you know, to terminate it. So I knew what was in there. But it was light load. I just figured, you know, skip it. I'm light anyway. I'm gonna go in here, right? And I went in there, and you know, usually they have like a straight lane. Like when you pull into the scale house over here, the area I'm talking about, the scale I'm talking about. I ain't gonna say what it is. I ain't trying to pinpoint nothing. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, I digress. Anyway, you pull in here, you got a bypass lane inside the scale house. You got the one until you go onto the scale, right? And so I said, well, I'm light, man. You know, cause they got scales on the road. You roll over the scale. They tell you which way to go. Go this way or go that way. Go to bypass or go on the scale, right? Right. So imagine when you talk. Everybody know whoever drove for a while or whoever experienced this. You already know you be on the phone or something. You be doing something, and then you see the arrow turn. You see that arrow turn X, like a turn to a red. Like you got to go this way. You get the arrow to go on the scale. Whatever you got going on, it stops. So if you're talking on the phone, you're like, hold on, man, I'm going in. If you're talking to somebody on the phone, you're like, hold on, I'm going in. They're like, going in where? I'm going in the place. They already know what you're talking about, right? If they drivers. Going in the coupe. And so I was like, dang. So I had to like get my bearings together. I slowed down. I was so nervous, man. It was like a huge stop sign on the building, right? Or like by the building. It was somewhere on that side. There's a huge stop sign, right? I was so nervous that I just drove. I seen the stop sign, but I ain't stopped. All I seen was the stop sign, but I seen the scales. I said, well, they both right here. You know, I guess what you want me to do? So I said, skip it. I'm like, anyway, let me get on these scales so I can wait to get out of here real quick, right? Man, tell me why I pull on the scale and I put on the scale. I blew the stop sign. I pull on the scale and that scale will weigh you back. Well, I think it was like a single. I think it weighed per axle. It didn't weigh the whole thing like a cat scale. It didn't do that. You think it weighed like tandems or axle weight? I think it did each axle, right? So anyway, I seen the stop sign. I seen the scales. I seen the sign, and it tell you how to stop. Like it tell you where to stop, what axle to stop, and blah 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 blah. Right? But I was so out of it, and I pulled forward. And I'm looking up there because up top it got like arrows tell you where to stop or tell you if you go ahead, right? So I see the arrows, it just says stop, right? So I just pull one axle on there and I stop. I'm looking, right? I'm looking, and then I don't hear nothing. I say, oh man, I think I pulled too far forward. So I back up. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm backing up, and I stop. I'm looking forward like this, and the window for the coupe is like right there, right? It's like right there, and I can feel them looking at me, man. I don't want to look over there, but I can feel them looking at me, right? I can feel it, right? But I ain't looking. So I'm just trying to work out whatever they got going on over here so they can let me go. I ain't got to look at them, right? So I said, I back up, and I'm like, the light's still red. I said, dang. Now I looked to the side and said, roll down your window. I said, oh, man, roll down my window. So I rolled down my window, and then I sat there for a minute. Nothing, right? I said, skip it. I think I'm too far back. So I pulled back forward. And then I was like, I stopped on the last axle on my drive tires. I was like, now I sat there and I looked. X still red. So I said, skip it. I think I'm too far forward. So I back up again. I'm going back and forth on the scale, right? And it's only me in there, right? And there's nobody else in there. And they ain't saying nothing. It's a speaker right there. They just looking at me go back and forth. So I got tired of going back and forth, so I just sat still for a minute. And then I was just like, man, I don't know what to do, man. Skip it. I'm just gonna sit here, right? All I heard was, pull around back, driver. And let's just say the voice wasn't so nice. It didn't sound like a friendly voice. And it sounded like that grandma voice, come over here and eat some cookies, honey. I want you to come around back and eat some cookies. And it ain't sound like that. So anyway, I said, dang, I think I messed up, right? So I sat on the scale for a minute. So if I keep sitting here, man, they gonna come out and get me. But the door right there, like, I gotta put around back, man. So anyway, I pull around the back. I'm the only one in there, man. I'm the only guy. As a matter of fact, I ain't hardly see no trucks out there. My assumption was right. There wasn't a lot of trucks out there today. But anyway, I get over there and I put around back. I'm sitting in the back just looking like, man, I gotta do something, man. I gotta do something, guys. I'm like, man, I don't want to go up in here, man. This guy don't sound too happy. So mind you, I had like a bunch of, like, this is a rule of food for thought. All your permits, your cab cards, your insurance, and all that stuff, and all the stuff, you gotta keep it all in one folder, man, because it can get pretty ugly, man, on roadside or in the coupe if you ain't got that stuff organized, right? Then start writing all type of stuff, man. Little food for thought. So anyway, my stuff wasn't in the folder. It was all over the truck. Well, it was like in one compartment of the truck, but it was mixed in with bills, it was mixed in with PODs. So I didn't have time to go through all that stuff to look. You gotta keep that stuff, you gotta keep a record of the PODs and bills for a certain period of time. But it was all in one place. That's the question. It was all in at one place. So I didn't have time to go through all of the paperwork to see which one was my cab card, which one was my insurance. So I just grabbed the whole stack of whatever it was, right? J1s, I grabbed everything, right? And I go in, man. I go in there because I was in the back looking for that stuff for a nice little, I was sitting back there for a nice little minute, but I was also trying to look for paperwork for a nice little minute. I said, eventually he'll get more peed off and he'll come out here and get me and do some things to me, right? So I said, I got to go in. Let me just get it over with, right? So I go in, man. The one scale master was looking at me. Guys, if looks could kill, the looks he gave me, because he was already mad because I was doing all jacking up his scale, right? So I go around the back and I'm sitting back there for a minute, not going in, I'm trying to find paperwork and just sitting there thinking like, man, I don't want to go in here. And so by the time I got in there, he was on 80. If he was like on 10 for the scale situation, he was definitely close to 100 by the time I got in the office, right? Inside the coupe. So I go in there, right? I'm like, dang, man, I don't know what to do with this, man. So I come in, I got all these papers in my hand, and he looking at me, and I walk in there, I'm looking at him like, I was like, man, I don't know what to say. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what he gonna ask for. I don't know what he coming around back. I knew I was jacking up the scale going back and forth, but I ain't know the magnitude of damage I've done, right? So anyway, I get up in there, and he was like, license. No, give me a license. Is what he said. Give me a license, right? I said, okay, sir. They put down my papers, a couple of my papers on your desk first. You're like, sure, right? You see, he was so heated, man. And I was like, I put my papers down. Here's the crazy part, guys. My papers, they was like kind of in a stack, but it wasn't neat. You know what I'm saying? It was like a corner over here, a corner over there. I had them all in one stack, but it was a neat stack, right? So when I put the papers on the desk, the wind from when the papers hit, man, some papers went on his side of the desk, some papers went on my side of the desk, papers all on the counter. The papers fell, he looked down, he like, I'm like, oh man. I'm like, my bad, man. And like, hey, he like, license. There was papers papers everywhere, right? So I reach in my pocket to get my wallet, right? And I'm like, I'm trying to get him my license. He looking at me like, it went from a look of, I know hindsight stuff is funny, man, but it wasn't funny then, right? It went from a look of disgust and anger to a look of like, this guy's confused, right? The way he's looking at me, he looking at the papers, he looking at me like, and then he asked me a question. He asked me one simple question, guys. While I was going to my pocket to get the wallet, he said, you don't know what's going on right now, do you? I was like, no. He said, yeah, I could tell. He said, I was upset when you first got in, but I could look at you and tell you don't know what's going on. He said, man, you know what's happening right now? I said, yeah, I'm in this way station. I said, My papers all on your floor. He was like, yeah, that's evident. As a matter of fact, hold off on your license. Hold off. I said, get these papers up. He told me to pick the papers up, right? So I said, can I come on the side of the counter? He said, yeah, come over here and pick up your papers. These are your papers, right? So I'm picking them all up. His bills all on the ground. He like, where's your insurance and stuff at? Is it in here? I said, yeah, it's in here somewhere. I said, I knew they're in this stack, but I just don't know where. But we can find it. I can find it, but give me a few minutes. He like, he said that, he took a couple steps back. He looked at me. He was like go around the other side of the counter, right? Yeah, wait, stop. He said, stop. He told me to stop whatever I was doing because I was trying to get the wallet out, trying to get my wallet out still. And, everything to go along with it, right? Man, after all that was said and done, he was like, man, you know what? He said, I'm going to tell you what you did. Clearly, I can see, what he used a word. He used a word. He said, I'm oblivious. He said something to the fact of what was going on. Anyway, he said some word. I was like, wow, all I heard was, all I was listening for was, fine, you can let me DOT you. That's all I'm listening for. I'm not listening. All he was saying was, you oblivious to what's going on, right? I was like, well, yeah. He was like, man, this is what you did. He said, man, look, you ran my stop sign. That's the first thing. That's why I had you sit on there. Then you had the nerve to go back and forth on my scale. It clearly says, do not back up. Don't back up. But you decided you gonna back up. And so, not once, not twice, but at least 3 times you backed up, went back and forth, right? I'm like, yeah, I did do that. I said, but you know what? What I was trying to do, he said, no, hey, you ain't gotta say none of that. You ain't gotta say none of that. He said, matter of fact, come here, let me show you something. So he took me around the counter again. We walked to the window to look at the scales, right? He said, man, look, I see you don't know what's going on. I believe you because I feel you're a genuine person because all my stuff was on the desk and on the floor. And he was like, well, I got the stuff up on his side of the table, but my stuff was still on my side of the table and still on the floor. We didn't get to that because you trying to figure out what's going on. Well, I was trying to figure out what's going on. So he walked me to the window. He said, you see these scales? Look at that. You see that? I'm gonna give you another shot to get your papers and stuff up, right? Get all that up. I'm gonna have you come back around because you technically wasn't overweight. Because when you was sitting still, I did see your weight and you're not heavy. So I already know you ain't overweight, but you gotta stop on the scale right. What you gonna do first is pull around, stop. Wait till I tell you to proceed forward. Then you come forward and get on the scale. Think you can do that? I was like, yeah. He like, cool. Get your papers. Get all this stuff up. And then you come back around the scale, guys. So, man, anyway, guys, man, the Lord was with me that day, boy, I tell you, man. He told me all the violations I did, what he could write me on, what the problem I could have, if he really want to do that, really want to go there with me. And I was like, man, I feel you, officer. All I want to do is just go home, man. I went out here trying to make some extra money, and it almost cost me more money than I was making for that day.